obviously, this was not the case. And let's get into it and why we owe our girl Chrisette Michele an apology.
What did she say?
Say what?
Hey y'all, this is your girl Nita Q, and I am back with a new episode of Say What. Yes, if I am recording, it means that my down season is over. I always take a break during the summertime because why not? And as you see, I have a new background, a new space. Still more to come with that, so I'm super excited about that. But let's get into our video. Let's get into it. So Chrisette Michele, she is a Grammy Award-winning artist. If you don't know her, a couple of forevers. I'm sure if you've been in a wedding, you've heard that before. But I don't see how you couldn't have heard of her, especially in 2017 when everybody decided to cancel her. The funny thing about this, or irony about this, is she wasn't the only Black person that sung in this segment. As you might have not saw in the beginning of the intro, Travis Greene was a gospel singer, also was a part of this. And I searched the web and I did not find any type of like lash out, that he received for that. And then like present day with this 2024 election, there are a lot of Black artists and athletes and celebrities that are on Trump's side, and they're not being canceled. And you can say, well, Renita, people did get backlash. They got backlash, but she got canceled. And we're going to get into all that she lost, and this is why I don't like cancel culture. First of all, it's very judgmental. But I know that this is the world we're in, is judgmental. You know what I'm saying? However, it is you messing up somebody's bag off of your opinion and off of something that's not even going to matter. And as I see, is not even as relevant anymore, because no one is losing albums and babies and stuff because of physical stress, because they support Trump, and I feel like Chrisette Michele got it the worst, which is why I'm having this video today. So let's get into some things. Like, as I said earlier, she joined a gospel singer, Travis Greene, and like I said, I didn't see anything to anything that he could have lost. Let's get into this, courtesy of TMZ. The other video was courtesy of MC Rush. Got to make sure that I give my credit, because I don't want them trying to cancel me. So anyway, this is back in 2017, Donald Trump inauguration. Gospel star Travis Greene, he is proud to say that he is performing. He didn't see anything wrong with this, and this is all that I saw about this. He did say that he got blowback on social media, but he's figured out a way to deal with it. For the record, his team tells us he's also getting support for his decision. So he got some kind of the support. I don't see that he lost anything. I don't see that he lost any membership. I didn't see any of that. So if you have come across something, let me know, because I couldn't find anything. And I really searched the web and I didn't see where he was at a loss, especially in comparison to the loss that Chrisette Michele had encountered. And so that strikes another question. You know what I'm saying? Was it because she was R&B? Was it because, everybody saw her as, this Black princess, because she was, Chrisette has this angelic voice. And not only that, when I watched the reality show R&B Divas, like, she was always one of my favorites, because she was like, why we gotta argue? Why we gotta be upset? Like, I feel like we were kindred spirits, because I'm kind of like a trusting wanderlust type of person, like half glass full type person, basically. And that is the type of person that she was. And so we're going to get into some interviews, and we're going to get into everything that happened to her in the past, and her happy ending, because of course she rose above it. But I just want to drive my point home as to why, how the unfairness that she experienced, and how I just kind of feel like social media is just a beast within itself. Like, I'm not even a celebrity, and some of the things that people put in my comments be really hurting my feelings, but it be on the multitude of like 1 to 5 people. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't know you. These celebrities be getting like thousands, of hate mail, and a lot of, and it's like, it's not mail, it's on posts, it's on DMs, it's everywhere. It's on blogs, it's on, gossip blogs and stuff like that, and platforms. And so they're constantly getting this over and over again. And a lot of people are saying, well, our older celebrities, they were more mature, That's because they didn't have Twitter. I am very convinced if they had Twitter, if Luther Vandross had Twitter or Whitney Houston had Twitter, the way social media is now, they would have told you a little bit about how they felt too. But that wasn't their case. They didn't get the hate like all the time. They might have got it in mail, maybe in tabloids, but it wasn't like a constant influx of hate and disdain, and that can get to your mental health. Bullying on any level is just like, it's nonsense to me. Anyway, I will talk about that forever. So let's get back into the subject. Y'all know I like to veer off. And so let's get into this interview that she did with CBS 7 years ago about what happened.
About it, even members of your own family have cut you off.
Well, no one's cut me off, God forbid, right? But mom and dad were supportive. And then they had older sisters and brothers who were, I'm sure, petrified and uncomfortable with my decision, as they aren't Trump supporters, which I didn't vote for Trump either. But so
that's another thing. She didn't even vote for Trump. So let's keep going.
Oh, that's been a scary thing for them. After the performance and after they saw that, I came out okay, they were, a little easier to talk to. But before, it was pretty scary.
You've got this new spoken word track, No Political Genius, and you referenced the performance saying, quote, "I am the black elephant in the red room, scared shook." You said you had no hesitation to perform. Explain what those lyrics and those words mean.
Sure, I was that black elephant in the red room in the White House that we're all afraid to talk about, that we're all avoiding. I want to start a conversation. I want everybody to know what everybody's going through so we can all fight together. But if we're all shouting and yelling and nobody really knows what the real issues are, it might take no political genius to talk.
So she was actually trying to make a point. Like, it's not about black and white. It's not about Democrat and Republic. It's just about us loving each other as a human race. So it's not like, I don't even think she even thought about any of the backlash she would have received from singing on the inauguration. And now that she's talking, I'm just going to get a little bit off subject and just search a bit to see who all was asked to sing at this inauguration. So of course there were others that were asked before the people that actually performed. And before we get into everyone that performed at the 2017 inauguration, I want to see who actually was asked. This is all alleged according to Vulture, but they're saying all the musicians who reportedly turned down. So Elton John was one of those people. Celine Dion was like, nope. Andrea Bocelli, she said no. She's an Italian tenor, as I'm learning. The band Kiss said no. Garth Brooks said no. David Foster said no. Rebecca Ferguson, Charlotte Church, Jennifer Holliday was like, nope. So it says, so she was going to perform at the pre-inauguration concert for Donald Trump, but she changed her mind. Jennifer Holliday is a black woman. The B Street Band, they said no. They're a Bruce Springsteen. Can I talk today? Springsteen cover band, and they said no. So Jennifer Holliday did. She was going to, but then she said no. For those that don't know who Jennifer Holliday is, I believe she is the one that sung in Dreamgirls, the original "You're Gonna Love Me." But let's double check because I never like to have misinformation. Jennifer Holliday is the and I'm telling you, girl. So she was a black woman. So I was just interested to see, was there any other black people asked? And it looks like she was the only one, which we would call like the token. So if we see who actually performed, so the ones who actually performed at the inauguration, courtesy of Forbes, was a classical, Toby Keith, who is a country singer, which is understandable for country singers because most southern states are red, right? Three Doors Down, we know Chrisette Michele, Lynn Greenwood, Jackie Evancho, Big and Rich. People I don't know, Tony Orlando, the Rockettes. Here's some Travis Greene, Pelican 212, Lexi May Walker, the frontman of Country, Piano Guys, Big and Rich, Jackie Vancho. I don't really know any of these people per se, but I was just trying to see the array. Like, it wasn't like she was the only R&B person that I can see that was on this list to be a part. So after they had reached out to other people, they reached out to, I don't know if these are his famous bands. I'm not finna read to learn Trump's famous bands. Let's just be honest. Back on the subject though. So as you can see, she expressed like, yo, I didn't think that this was going to get like this, you know. And so as time, you know, kept furthering, it started taking a toll on her health. So on essence.com, this is an article that came out in 2020. So this is 3 years later, right? When 2020 was already a detriment to everybody. So she opened up about her miscarriage. This is when I actually teared up, because I was not aware of her having a miscarriage during this time. And so it says Chrisette Michele shared some of her struggles she has dealt with since the fiasco surrounding her performance at President Trump's inaugural ball, including being dropped by her label, struggling with depression, and suffering a miscarriage. She said, I went from someone being revered and loved to facing putting out an album in the worst climate of my musical career. She said that her label dropped her after she delivered them her next album titled Strong Black Woman. She said, if social media wanted to pull me down, I guess they succeeded as it pertains to Capitol and Caroline Records. She said, I go into the studio and literally poured out my heart and soul, and the label decides to walk away from me. So we know that she received terrible backlash, but I did not know that it took a physical toll on her, and her body wasn't able to carry the baby, and so she lost her baby. This is what I'm saying, like, we can't just be out here bullying people, you know what I'm saying? And I get everybody felt so strong about Trump, but people feel just as strong about him in 2024 than they did in 2017, and at that point he's elected. He's elected, he's our president, and there's nothing we can really do about it. And I'm pretty sure, you know, people have that. This is not, I just kind of feel like she was the example of, if you're Black and you want to support Trump, this is what we're going to have. This was going to happen to you, and we can't rock with you. And I hate that someone's life work became an example to the point where it caused her this much trauma, which is why I say the industry owes her. They owe her some reparations. They owe her an apology. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said now, which I'm going to get into later, nobody getting canceled for this. And so the further backlash came, according to digitalmusic.com, is that Chrisette didn't do this for humanitarian reasons. She did it because she was getting paid $250,000 for a 30-minute performance or whatever. And so they go on to say, Chrisette Michele has been brutally attacked for accepting the Trump inaugural gig. Fans are calling her a traitor. Fellow artists are calling her a sellout. Like Spike Lee, she was supposed to be on a series of She's Gotta Have It, and he just flat out fired her. So she lost more opportunities. You know what I'm saying? And it says none of those people are paying her $250,000 for 30-minute indoor performance. So this article is like, I mean, she got her bag, you know. So they said, according to details just published by the New York Daily News, the Trump Inauguration Committee ponied a cool $250,000 for the singer. And on Friday night, Chrisette Michele played a smooth, quick set at the Liberty Ball on a cushy indoor stage. Then it was a bit of conversation with attendees, some drinks, hors d'oeuvres, and that was that. That's all she did. And it says Michelle's manager has been dead quiet on the news, refusing to respond to an inquiry from any of the publications. Other R&B and gospel stars were apparently part of an all-star cast before dropping out. So there were more R&B. So this actually this discredit what I said earlier when I said I don't see any R&B or gospel singers on the list. However, on the list of the people who turned down. However, in this article, it's saying allegedly that there were other R&B and gospel stars that agreed to be a part of this segment, and they said no. So they said before dropping out, they have left Michele with the lion's share of the pay. Other R&B and gospel stars were apparently part of an all-star cast before dropping out. That may have left Michele with the lion's share of the payout. So because they dropped out, she got more money because she stayed in. So a lot of people were dropping out, and she just didn't drop out with the team. What's disheartening to me is, who are these people? Who are these people? Because they still went on with their careers. Yes, they did back out, but they originally agreed to it. So they kind of backed out from getting all this backlash. And because she was the only one that stayed in, I feel like that's why she got the brunt of the backlash. So they said the payment figure was originally believed to be $750,000, but that may have been allocated for the entire R&B and gospel ensemble. The inaugural committee intentionally kept the names of the other participants quiet, fearing last-minute cancellations. Ultimately, those performers decided the bad publicity and ethical problems weren't worth it. Meanwhile, Chrisette Michele played the unity card, even quoting MLK in a tweet to fans that only served to inflame followers, with Michele soon broiled in Twitter hell. Let's get into that, because if anyone is going to rip you to shreds, baby, Twitter gonna do it. So let's get into this Twitter piece right here. So she published this January 19, 2017, according to this. We can't be present if we're silent. My heart is broken for our country, for the hopes of our children, for the fights of those who came before us. I cry at the thought that Black history, American history, might be in vain. This country has had great moments. God has shined his light upon us. Today, I hope that great moments begin in peaceful and progressive conversation. I am willing to be a bridge. I don't mind these stones. If they allow me to be a voice for the voiceless, I am here. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about what matters. I am here representing you because this is what matters. Chrisette Michele, hashtag no political genius. Now, to her defense, she's saying, look, I didn't even support this dude. I didn't even do any research. I didn't do any of that, you know? And I know a lot of people are just kind of like,
hell no.
so they didn't believe her. They didn't believe her. And so a lot of comments was, why don't you take your own advice and vamoose up out of two grown women's business? This was people, you can lie to yourself and pretend you're building a bridge if it helps you sleep better at night, but you ain't fooling us. Some people say you'll look back and regret this. My grandmother always said all money ain't good money. There's still time to quit the charade. The thing is, it was done. She had already did it. What did people expect her to do? Get into a time machine, rewind it, and not make the decision? You know, I think at this point, Chrisette really didn't understand. Like, she's like, I'm singing gospel music. You know, I'm spreading love. I'm spreading harmony. I mean, like, what? You know, then this person says, heard you're getting 75,000 to perform. Nice. No one can ever call you cheap. But we just read that was probably for everyone that participated that night. And so, you know, and this is probably a Trump person who was like, great, good job. You should never have to explain why you're present in the incredible American experience. And so that's probably a Trump supporter. And then this person said, half a lesson learned, do your homework. 75 million people voted against it. It's biggest loser in world history. So my whole thing is, she said that she wasn't politically sound. And so she just saw an opportunity to sing at the inaugural ball, and she did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that, you know, people were putting 20 on 10. Like, she really is, like, have you ever made a decision without doing your research later to know that it was just like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have did that? And I feel like that was the case with her. And then someone did, you know, compare her to a old country singer who I just found out, you know, about him. His name is Solomon Burke. He was a country singer that ended up singing at a KKK Klan, but he did not know that it was that until he got there. And so, according to this article from recordcollectormag.com, it says those Klan boys really love their country music, honest, God-fearing, wholesome songs about divorced dogs and dirt farms. They can't get enough of them. Back in 1964, they especially liked Just Out of Reach and invited the singer of that current hit to perform for them in person. But a bit of a snag, though. Nobody told the KKK that Solomon Burke was Black. So his appearance on stage wasn't greeted with the warmest of receptions. It came as a bit of a surprise to Solomon, too. as nowhere on his touring schedule did it mention that this particular stop-off was a Klan rally in all but name. There have been many instances down the years of life imitating art, but rarely does life imitate a deleted scene from Blazing Saddles. And so basically it kind of reminded me of that episode of Dave Chappelle. Do you guys remember that episode when Dave Chappelle's character was posing as a KKK member, but nobody knew that he was black, and he didn't know he was black because his character was blind? Let me give you a bit of a refresher of it was definitely giving this.
Who said that? You want to see my face? What even go on, brother? You want to see my face? Don't be afraid, Jason. Don't be afraid.
So it was definitely giving that. I would have played the whole thing, but I ain't trying to get a copyright strike. But yeah, so it was definitely giving that. So everybody was comparing her to this country singer, Solomon Burke, and it's just like, wait, he had no idea what he was walking into until he walked into it. And I feel like, you know what, I take that back. That was very similar because I think, in hindsight, if Chrisette Michele would have known like what was going to happen afterwards, then maybe she wouldn't have made that decision. Like, so if you want to compare that is the two. You know, Solomon walked into it not knowing what was going to happen, and at that present time, and Chrisette Michele had no type of hindsight of what was going to happen, you know, after the fact. And so one thing about Twitter is going to educate you, because I'm like, who is Solomon Burke? So it was good to read about, you know, a black country singer, since that, you know, that's been a trend since, you know, Beyonce did her Renaissance Carter 2 album. So anyway, and so after years passed, after a year had passed, she did Chrisette did an interview on WBLS. It's a radio station. So this is a little bit about her sentiments after the fact. So we saw what she said like recently after, like, hey, you know, I don't think I did anything wrong. I think that I was trying to, you know, spread a decent message, blah, blah, blah. But this is how she felt a year later.
Yeah. We don't know why we are put to these tasks. We don't know what tests they ultimately measure up to. What did you get from this moment?
I got from this that sometimes my mother always said, Chrissy, it's not enough to have good intentions. And that always hurt my feelings. I could buy her roses and she'd be like, you know, I'm allergic to flowers. So just because you have something that you feel like needs to be said, and just because you have intentions to better a situation, sometimes you have to think about what time you say it, how you say it, when you say it, where you say it. So it's a good thing to say, we're going to get through this. It's a good thing to say, count on Jesus. He's keep praying, keep hoping, keep dreaming, keep pushing. But that was a tender place to sing it.
Yeah.
It was a tender spot. It was a tender time. And, you know, sometimes as Christians, we can get real haughty. You know, when we want to say God's going to work it out, we want to say it at the funeral. You know, you ever go to a funeral and it's a really uncomfortable, sad, broken time.
It is.
And you got that old lady singing that upbeat praise and worship song. It's like, Granny, it's not the time. That might have been what it was. So I learned that, you know, even if I have something to say, if it hurts somebody, it's okay to say I'm sorry. If it hurts somebody truly, because there are a lot of people who are just mean. But there were some people who were really broken over my decision. There were some Black women who counted on me for a lot of things as a songstress. And when they saw me on that stage, maybe they didn't even hear what I said. It was, but Chris, you're supposed to have my back.
Yeah.
And I think that was the thing. Like, I don't think she thought about the responsibility of what she was doing. She had really good intentions. And I feel like I've drove my point home with that. Like, she really had great intentions and she did not know that this was going to blow back like this. And so this goes into my next segment as to like what really pissed me off about everything that happened to her is because present day people are literally, and I want to say Black celebrities, because that's what this is about, are up for Trump, and it's okay. Like, they may get a little backlash, like Lil Wayne. He got backlash. He got backlash from supporting Trump, but come to find out that's because he kept him out of jail, so he supported Trump. He did what he had to do. But Lil Wayne has always said, look, it ain't black and white for me, so he's always said that, but he got backlash for that. Ice Cube got backlash, but it wasn't, this is what I'm trying to say, they weren't canceled. They didn't lose any musical deals, nor did they care, I think, if they did, but they didn't lose as much as she did. And this is why I'm trying to drive this home. So, it was Kodak Black. I didn't even know Kodak Black did that or whatever. Snoop Dogg said he had nothing but love. You know what I'm saying? Snoop Dogg hasn't lost any type of influence in the black community. He didn't lose any deals. He's still with Martha Stewart. Matter of fact, he's at the Olympics. He got his own Olympic pin and everything. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I'm saying. Like, right now, nobody, people maybe a little mad about it, but it's whatever. Like, when Amber Rose was like, I'm for, Trump, everybody like, okay, whatever, this is Amber, or people were a little bit mad, but it wasn't like this, you know what I'm saying? So now no one cares that deeply about whoever you're supporting in this election race. And let me just say, like, please do your own research on who you want to vote for. Don't vote for someone because of what you see on social media. See what they've done in the past. See what they want to do in the future. Watch the debates. Watch past videos. This is what I've been doing, And the thing is, if you don't like Kamala and you don't like Trump, it's kind of like voting for, or vice versa. If you don't like either candidate, it's just choosing the best administration that you feel will serve the country in the next 4 years. And so reading some of the future plans of Trump is very scary to me, and then there are some things about Kamala as well that I, VP that I've read about. So it's like no one's perfect. And so you're not really voting for the person. I feel like in this election, you're voting for administration. Do you want to go backwards or you want to go forward? And so I would just tell you that, all of this pandering is totally unnecessary. And this is how people get canceled. People, because of how they feel at the moment, because of emotions, because what was a big deal in 2017 for Chrisette is nothing in 2024 for the rest of these artists. And this woman has lost a lot, and has went through a lot of probably self-discovery, probably seeing who a real support system was, and yes, like I said, later we'll get into how she rose above it, but it kind of pissed me off to like, we don't even feel this way no more. I still listened to her back in 2017 because I'm like, this is Chrisette. If you watched her on, like I said, R&B Divas, you could see she's not, she's a very sweet person. Like, she's very good hearted. And so I'm just like, we canceling over a performance, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's kind of like, with the same thing of, with the same instance of like the Super Bowl when people weren't, performing, minorities wouldn't perform because Jay-Z said not to. And then Jay-Z, I guess, changed his mind and he started working for NFL, and we've been having minorities ever since. We've had since he's been in whatever he's doing, we've had Jennifer Lopez, we've had Rihanna, and we've had Usher. So see what I'm saying? The people basing like determining your life's work and your bag over a temporary emotion, that's bullshit to me. So anyway, so I don't want to get into everybody, but people were really mad about Snoop because he was not for that at first, so they're saying, as former President Donald Trump, who was twice impeached for facing 91 felony criminal charges, which that at this point it was 34 that he actually was convicted of, rapidly approaches the Republican presidential nomination. The Biden-Harris campaign has intensified its criticism and is preparing to spend a record amount of money on advertising and marketing. So I just want to get on people who were like Snoop Dogg and Ice Cube. They changed their mind of being supporters of Biden because they were like, Trump had freed some of their friends. things. You know, like he really freed a lot of people in. I think he even pardoned Kodak Black, if I'm not mistaken. And correct me if I'm wrong on that. And so, of course, they're going to go for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, they're going to support him, but they weren't canceled. This is my point. Killer Mike just won a Grammy. He's an open Trump supporter. And Sexy Red. I'm not really like I don't really know who she supports because she hasn't really said it. It's just the host makes Sexy Red, president, and it's the red hat that kind of matches the MAGA hat. I think that's why a lot of people were just like side-eyeing her, like, girl, but they be side her anyway. We could do a video about Sexy Red if you want to. Yeah. I do love her. I do think she's fun, but a lot of people talk about her representation, but this is not about her. This is about Chrisette. And here at BYOK, we try not to bash people because this is a platform that celebrates all people. However, I'm going to be honest, when things just be kind of looking at me like, I'll be looking at things like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, Chrisette did an interview maybe 2 years later on the Same Room podcast. I believe the owner of the Shade Room was one of the hosts. And this is a little bit about what she said. This is the most recent one that I saw involving this out of all the videos that I watched. So let's get a little bit into it and see what Chrisette Michele had to say.
What your expectation and your intentions were. Like when you talk about, encountering the Lord at 9 is also like a year that I met the Lord, right? Mm-hmm. And so I can see the childlike excitement of, if I do this, this is going to happen, right? That joy and that excitement. And so what you're saying is that you felt like your intentions were not heard because you came as an R&B singer.
Definitely. I mean, that's no question. Definitely not. And you get used to that in the industry. I remember my very first interview. I sat in the magazine office and they said, what's it like to be a curvy girl in the music business and represent women with curves? And I was just like, I'm curvy. That's what I'm doing here. I'm representing curvy people. I didn't go in there thinking because I had wide hips and a small waist that I was representing the curvy. No one told me that. No one gave me that information. It's just when I showed up, that was my responsibility. A lot of times where you show up becomes your responsibility, even if you have different intentions.
And I love that she said that. Even if you're having different intentions or you're wishing, you have your own agenda. When you step in certain spaces, people create agendas for you. And so that's what happened. Like I said, I don't think she understood the depth of her responsibility, the responsibility that she didn't take on, but the responsibility that was given to her. So after all of this, she did a TED Talk this year. And I wanted to express this because this is all that she's been through. And to me, it was just kind of like a rise above it type moment. And I was just so happy about this. I wanted to get into, what she had to say.
Award-winning #1 Billboard chart-topping platinum-selling recording artist. 7 years ago, I sang with a gospel artist, Travis Greene, on a stage before thousands of Republicans who voted for Donald Trump. Like many of you, I didn't vote for him. Like many of you, I felt the collective break in the country's heart and the hearts of millions. So I decided to sing a song I thought could heal. The song written by Travis Greene was called Intentional. He took the first verse, I took the second. Instead of healing, there was a media onslaught of hate. Somehow Travis's music shot up the charts, but I was deemed canceled by the loudest voices of social media. While I despise talking about the cultural phenomenon that is cancel culture, I still to this day can't get through an interview without being asked about it. So I decided to take this opportunity to share my thoughts on the matter once and for all.
I love that. And so I say everybody go watch the TED Talk. It's called Cancel That. And I think everybody should watch that. And then I think she should be issued an apology. I don't like that, like I said, and then she confirmed Travis Greene didn't receive any backlash. He wrote the song, curated it, probably produced it, whatever, and he received no backlash. And she just sung on the song. And she was one of some of the R&B and gospel singers that didn't drop out. And because she was the only familiar face, she received the biggest backlash. So I feel like that's what happened, and I'm loving that she's rising above that. And I want us to be really mindful of our emotions, because once again, I'll say emotions are fleeting. And I get that this is it's still a sensitive time in America. It's still a divide in America. Now it's people arguing about the current candidates, if you're Black enough, if women's rights and things of that, you know what I'm saying? And I get we are entitled to feel how we feel, but we are not entitled to break people down for how they feel. And that is the premise of this entire video. It's good to see that she is now touring, and she recently joined a sorority, and things of that sort, and she's getting her life back on track. She was just singing with Bobby Valentino on Instagram, Where Was the Love, which is so beautiful, and I'm glad that she climbed her way out of that. I felt like, for an artist, it was undeserving, especially when we are noticing all the uncoverings of all these other artists that we thought were such a something, and they turned out to be like Black-hearted people. And that was never the case for Chrisette, and still people are on the divide of canceling those celebrities. But there was no shadow of a doubt. I think Little Mo was the only celebrity that I saw that took up for her during that time in 2017, not 2024 now, but in 2017, saying, yo, people can make decisions, but that doesn't mean she deserves this. I don't think anyone deserves that for making a decision. She originally was a part of this because she knew there was a divide, and she wanted to be a part of something that was positive and talked about togetherness. And so I just want to say, if no one gives it to you, Chrisette, if you ever come across this small platform, to let you know that on behalf of anyone who misunderstood, I feel like you are owed an apology. I feel like you are so talented and so good-hearted. And sometimes, yes, the intentions of the best of them do get misunderstood, but I love the fact that you rose above it, and I love the fact that you're sharing your story now more openly, and I hope that people can learn from this in 2024 to just learn a person's intentions, ask questions before jumping to assumptions, and that celebrities are people. I don't know if people are excited about canceling or the downfall of celebrities because they live this lavish lifestyle that maybe you wish that you can live. Even that aside, they're still people with family, with feelings, with friends, with emotions, with hardships. They're still people. And so I just want to end it on that note. Let me know in the comments like how you feel about this. I would love to hear how you feel about this. And seriously, guys, don't be afraid to, don't be afraid to be different because of backlash too. You know what I'm saying? Because you can still have good intentions and still do it. And if you get the backlash, if you did it from your heart, you know what I'm saying? That's the thing that you should focus on, So I know that she came out stronger and stronger out of this. And so, that for that, I feel like that would be the light at the end of the tunnel for her. So until next time, you all, please be kind to yourselves, and please equally be kind to each other. And until next week, I'll see you on the next segment of Say What. And if you have any topics you want me to talk about on Say What, it's just my 2 cents. I never am all knowing, but honey, I will get on this internet and I will find the answers and then give you my 2 cents, because that's what I do. Until then, I'll see you guys next week, and bye.